Norm Snead hit 11 out of 17 in the first half. Ron Johnson ran for 67 yards, the top ground gainer. Here's Ron Johnson. And he has a first down. Ron Johnson out to the 32-yard line.
Well, hello. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video, and welcome to the Gridiron. And before I get started, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone out there who's been watching my videos. Thank you. I greatly appreciate it. If you can maybe give this video a thumbs up or possibly leave a comment below or maybe share this video. It would mean so much to me. But anyway, just thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. Thank you. Greatly appreciate it. Well, I was seeing some, obviously, a lot of the news is, not only injured Giants, but I was noticing that Joe Judge was talking about, Daniel Jones, is possible. He was limited in practice on Thursday, but he was on the field. Still a possibility he might play. He's got to get cleared. But we still got a couple days to go, so possibly, he might be able to play. Now, even if he doesn't get to play, all right, and Mike Glennon's got to fill in for him, well, there's still a little bit of good news because possibly, Darius Slayton, maybe, might get Sterling Shepard back. Kadarius Toney might be able to play, so we might have some weapons for Mike Glennon to play with. Because if there's no Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley can't go, Kenny Golladay can't go. If Kadarius Toney, Slayton, Shepard can't go, we're already in a world of trouble. If those other receivers can't go, we're in a lot of trouble. Now, the guys that were limited, in practice on Thursday, was Ben Bredesen with his hand. Still have to monitor that. Nate Ebner with his quad. Jabrill Peppers with his hamstring. All right, Logan Ryan, he's got a problem with his hip. Matt Skura, he's got a problem with his knee. Kadarius Toney, he's got his ankle. Justin Hilliard, he popped on the list. He was limited. He had an ankle problem. Then you got Sterling Shepard and Darius Slayton. They were limited because of their hamstrings. Andrew Thomas, it was limited with his foot. Obviously Kenny Golladay and Saquon Barkley, they're out. But Andrew Thomas, obviously was on the field, on the sidelines against the Cowboys, and he was in uniform. So if he had to go last Sunday, he could have. Not that he wanted to, because with the injury. But, hopefully a week later, keep our fingers crossed. Maybe if he'll be on the sideline, maybe he can also be in the game. I would, if he can ever get healthy, I would just love to see Andrew Thomas and Matt Parrott, left tackle, right tackle, just ride out the season. Because Nate Solder's really struggling. There's a little optimism going into Sunday's game. Obviously we're still a huge underdog. Gonna be a real tough game, all of that stuff and everything. But we might get a few guys back, which certainly might help the offense out because our defense, I'm sure, can use all the help it can get. Because the Rams have a good offense and our defense has been very bad. A couple things with the Cowboy after the Cowboy game. Apparently, Jabril Cox, the rookie linebacker from the Cowboys, he's kind of pretty classless. He was the one it was a clean tackle. Ain't nothing wrong with the tackle. He went down. Dana Jones, by the time he landed, got a concussion and all and everything. But after the game was over, apparently Jabril Cox went onto his Twitter account. He put a picture of the tackle he was making, tackling Daniel Jones just before he reached the end zone. The play that, Daniel Jones got a concussion on. And Jabril Cox put that picture on his Twitter account. And he said, giving out concussions with exclamation points after it and all and everything. So I guess something like, he was hurting another ball player. I guess he's pretty proud of that. He's pretty happy he was dishing out, giving concussions to another human being. So something he's pretty proud of. So hopefully the Giants take note of that next time when they play the Cowboys in December 19th, okay? And another thing apparently they're going to be maybe keeping an eye on also is possibly, just possibly, okay, Jayron Kearse, after the game was over, the safety for the Cowboys, Evan Ingram was talking about him possibly getting punched in the face by Jayron Kearse. After the game was over, they went out to do the handshaking or whatever, but the NFL heard about it. They went and they looked at all films and stuff like that, from like NFL films, and they were trying to piece stuff together, see if they could find anything, and they found no signs. They couldn't find any pictures where Evan Ingram actually got punched in the face. Now I don't know how many other guys were around or whatever, no idea. But apparently that's what Evan Ingram said. I don't know. If it didn't happen, if he's just making it up, why he would make something like that up, I don't know. But it is what it is. I don't know. It's just kind of odd. Apparently, I guess like Evan Ingram, Jayron Kearse, like all game were like, he was blocking him, and they were going at it, I guess maybe talking all game and everything like that. And I guess after that, maybe he punched him in the face. That I don't know. I know Will Hernandez is pretty fired up about it, though. He said, he can't wait for those guys to come to town on December 19th. Now, if you remember, Jayron Kearse was also apparently the cowboy who, like after Daniel Jones, got tackled and he got up and he was staggering a little bit. Jayron Kearse is kind of the one who went over to Daniel Jones first. You know what I mean? I don't remember if he was trying to help him up or just tell him to sit tight or something or whatever. But apparently he was the first one to go over to Daniel Jones. So, I don't know. It is what it is. I don't know. If he was trying to help Daniel Jones there, but then after the game he tries to maybe sucker punch Evan Ingram. Who knows? But it's going to be pretty interesting when December 19th rolls around. Especially, if the Cowboys need the game. I don't know if they're going to need it to maybe win the division, but maybe need the game, maybe to get a better playoff spot or something like that or whatever. So it'll be interesting. The Giants might wind up playing spoilers that day. So mark December 19th down on your calendar. That could be a pretty interesting game with the Giants and the Cowboys, the second game of the season. Now, I saw an article should the Giants be sellers or buyers, before the trade deadline. Obviously, buyers, they ain't got much money to buy anything. Much more like maybe a bag of Doritos or something. They don't have a lot of cap money. So as far as them going out and just start spending all kinds of money, they ain't got it. They got a couple $1 million, and that's pretty much about it. So they're pretty much stuck. They're stuck pretty much. The guys that they got, and they ain't playing good, that's what they're stuck with, unfortunately. So I saw, that in the article, the Giants maybe should try to, there's a few guys that maybe they should try to sell, because some of the guys that they're not going to wind up, probably re-signing after their rookie contracts are up, okay? Obviously one of them's by Lorenzo Carter. I don't even, has he even been on the field? Has he even played? He got the interception against the Cowboys, but other than that, man, he has been missing in action. Now I can't see the Giants re-signing him, and honestly, I couldn't. His contract's up after this year. So as I said, I can't see the Giants signing him, and I can't see the Giants trading him to. I don't know who the heck would want him. Maybe if he's a healthy body. What would you get? Maybe a seventh rounder if you're lucky for him. But then unless somebody's totally depleted their edge rushers or something like that, I can see maybe somebody trying to get him. He came out of college, he had some freakish athletic ability, but the Giants are not really seeing it, So I don't know if they could possibly get anything for him. Then of course, you got obviously Will Hernandez. Now I don't know if once again the Giants are going to be able to sign him. He's been a little up and down this year. He's a former second round pick. Maybe if somebody needs an offensive lineman, Maybe the Giants they trade him away. I mean, get a late pick, a third day pick for him. I mean, trying to get maybe something for these guys before you just gotta let them go and you can't sign them. I mean, obviously, then you got Jabrill Peppers. I mean, he's kind of a liability in coverage. Obviously, he's hurt once again. He was a former first-round pick. If he's healthy and maybe in the right system and all, maybe he can really help somebody out. But I mean, he's a liability in coverage, and he's hurt. I love his attitude. Absolutely love his attitude. And I would love for him to be a Giant. But I mean, he's just one of the many disappointing defensive players that we have this year, and I can't see the Giants, trying to re-sign him now. Could you, get maybe trade him? I mean, he's hurt, but maybe he'll get healthy in the next week or two, and maybe you can, maybe trade him to somebody who needs some help in the secondary, and then maybe get, as I said, what you could get for maybe a fifth rounder. I mean. That's kind of, up in the air. Then you got Evan Ingram. I mean, maybe same thing with him. Maybe you can get a fifth rounder. I mean, the guy's got ability, the guy, all that stuff. And I mean, maybe in the right system with the right players around him, with the right coaches and all that, and the right system and schemes and all that, maybe he can work out better than what he's doing for the Giants, But I mean, I can't see the Giants re-signing him, So I said maybe you can get a fifth rounder for him if somebody's willing to take a flyer on him. I mean, so I mean, it's still got a couple weeks before the trade deadline, but it's kind of interesting. The one thing is that if you start selling, the thing is it's like 17 game season. You're 5 games, 6 games or so into the season, and all of a sudden maybe you start selling your guys off on what's that trying to tell to your team? I mean, what is that telling them? Hey guys, the season, it's a lost cause. We're just getting rid of guys. Yeah, thanks. I mean, we're just trying to ride this out as best we can. I mean, that's not showing much to your team. So it'd be interesting to see if the Giants get rid of any of these guys. But I mean, a lot of these guys, I can't see him re-sign any of these guys. And you got, I saw an article with Saquon. He's been hurt 3 out of 4 years. His first year was phenomenal. He hasn't really, he's not pushing the Giants over the edge, and all that. I mean, I saw another article that traded. Somebody was thinking about was maybe the Giants trading Saquon Barkley to the Baltimore Ravens, because remember that in a preseason, the training camp and all that, they lost like 2 guys or 3 guys, the running backs, like ACLs, I think it was, in 1 week. I mean, they got beat up big time. I mean, if you can give them a healthy, Saquon's going to be out for maybe a couple games, but you figure if the last half of the season, maybe like the last 8 games or so, Saquon comes back, all right, now he's kind of healthy, with Jackson there, with his running ability, and if you put a good running back behind him, so now you got, now the defense is like, man, who's going to get the ball? Is Jackson going to throw it? Or is Jackson going to run it? Or is Saquon? I mean, it's like pick your poison. Saquon or Lamar Jackson. I mean, who would you rather have running the ball? I mean, that's, you got 2 running backs in the back, or 2 runners in the backfield like that. Wow. Now you're talking. I mean, they could really, really do some damage then. I mean, it's like, is Saquon going to be in the the Giants are kind of strapped now. They're going to be strapped next year, and then if Daniel Jones is going to be their quarterback, they're going to have to sign him to a big contract. I mean, he's going to want, what, $30 million? What's he going to get, $30 million maybe a year? I don't know, 30, 35 a year? I mean, he's not going to get 40 to 50, but I mean, 30, 35 a year? I mean, any money the Giants going to have salary cap-wise coming up in the future, I mean, a big chunk of that is going to go to Daniel Jones. That's why it's so important to win while the quarterback is on his rookie contract, because then you can have other 2 or 3 extra guys around him to help the team win. But once he's off that rookie contract and you're going to dish out $35 million a year, there's 2 or 3 extra guys that you can't sign because you got your quarterback. You know what I mean? So is that something? Can the Giants actually do something like that? They're going to pay Saquon, so who gets hurt every year, except for his rookie year. 3 out of 4 years he's got. And this was a freakish accident. I get it, but then again, this season isn't over with either. Okay, he could come back in a week or so. He can get hurt again. You know, but are you willing to pay him $15 million or so a year? It'd be a tough choice, you know. As I said, the Giants, you know, his salary, he's got $7 million. I think he's getting paid next year or so. Something. So I mean, like if the Giants were to dish him out, the Giants might have to pay some of his salary. You know, it's probably not going to wind up happening, but it's just something to think about. You know, something interesting to, you know. I don't know what the Giants would get in return for Saquon. Certainly wouldn't be a first rounder, but you know, it would be a high draft choice, that's for sure. But I mean, it's just some of the guys that the Giants could try to maybe unload before the trade deadline comes. So we'll have to wait and see. Now there was something with the defense. I saw Patrick Graham. I saw a couple articles of him. He said that the defense play has been unacceptable so far. I mean, yeah, really? No kidding. But there's been somebody else, okay, who has a good opinion, okay, on what might be the problem, or you know, some of the problem. But somebody in the organization who was in the organization, all right, now you know, has a good view on, you know, some of the problems that the Giants might have on defense. Carl Banks, okay, he calls, he does the radio with Bob Papa. You know, he played with the Giants from 1994 to 1992. Okay, he played, you know, 9 years with the Giants. All right, he's on the NFL All Decades '80s team. All right, he only played 6 years in the '80s, but he was on the All Decades team. Okay, 2-time Super Bowl winner and all that and everything. You know, he was pretty good. Okay. If you ever want to see a game, you know, just to brighten your day up, all right, watch the 1986 playoff game where the Giants beat the 49ers 49-3. Okay, the game was in Giants Stadium. The Giants, you know, totally demolished them. During that game, Pat Summerall and John Madden were calling the game, and it was a couple times, and it's one time specifically. You know, John Madden said that Carl Banks was the best player on the field that day, and he was. Have you ever watched the game? He had, I believe, 14 tackles, 10 solo tackles. 49ers could not run the ball his way. He was phenomenal. He was good. He was really good. He was the best player on the field that day. And in Super Bowl 21, he was the best player on the field that day, except for Phil Simms, who won the MVP, because he has phenomenal passing statistics that he had that day. That's why he won. But other than that, you know, Carl Banks was really good in Super Bowl 21. He was phenomenal. He was the best player on the field, you know, except for Phil Simms. Now, Phil Simms didn't win that MVP. Carl Banks certainly could have won that MVP in the Super Bowl as a defensive player. But during the game in 1986, the 49ers and the Giants, during that game, there's Ronnie Lott, okay, Hall of Fame safety, Joe Montana, some can put him in the top 5 quarterbacks of all time, Jerry Rice, probably maybe the greatest wide receiver of all time, Hall of Famer, Harry Carson, Hall of Famer for the Giants, middle linebacker, and the greatest defensive player of all time, Lawrence Taylor. They were all on the field. Those 5 Hall of Famers were on the field, okay? And time after time, John Madden just kept pointing out Carl Banks, talking about how good he was playing, and he was the best player on the field that day. He was good, okay? He's special. He knows what he's talking about, okay? So when Carl Banks talks, you know, people need to listen. Okay, he says that he keeps seeing the same mistakes over and over again on defenses. Bad play from the edge rushers. Okay, Carter, Lorenzo Carter, and the X-Man. All right, they've had 175 combined pass rushing snaps. Okay, so far this year they have 2 hits on the quarterbacks. They have 11 pressures between the two of them, and they have no sacks. Quincy Roach. All right, he has 16 snaps. All right, but he has no pressures, no hits, no sacks. I mean, he has absolutely nothing. All right, what he sees a lot is that the edge rushers. They're supposed to also set the edge too, but a lot of times what he sees is when if you're an edge rusher over here and the ball gets run the other away from you, okay, the guys over here, they're not running down the line of scrimmage and trying to make a play. The offense doesn't block them. Okay, they pay attention to the defensive lineman and the guys over here. They just kind of let that guy go, run him free, because they're like, well, we're running the ball away from him. He's not going to run the play down. Well, Lawrence Taylor used to do that. Okay, but the guys that the Giants have don't run the plays down. A lot of times, what he was talking about, they don't even. A lot of times, they don't run as hard or play as hard as they can. If they would run, and the offense would have to take account of them and maybe put a blocker on them, okay, because they're running their ass off down the line to try to make a tackle, all right, then that would free up some guys in the middle. But since they're not paying any attention to them, they can put more of their blockers on the guys, like Leonard Williams and Dexter Lawrence, put more guys on those guys because they're like, this guy ain't never going to make the play, and he's right. Plus a lot of times when they're setting the edge, the running backs still get around them, time and time again. All right, they don't hustle down to get to the ball, and it doesn't. As I said, it would open things up. If they would run down, it would open things up for other players. Okay, now so far, Lorenzo Carter, the X-Man, and Ojulari, they are counting for 11 missed tackles so far this season. Okay, now Pro Football Focus. Okay. Ojulari, okay, is ranked 84th as far as edge rushers, okay? The X-Man is rated 88th, okay? And Lorenzo Carter is rated 90th, okay? At all edge rushers, okay? As far as tackling, all right? Absolutely pathetic. He also talks about, he's kind of mentioned like with Dexter Lawrence. He's kind of like with like Leonard Williams, especially Leonard Williams. He's like, where are they? He's like, he's got a good point. Against the Saints, okay, the Giants somehow won the game, all right, but they won the game. They got no sacks and they got no hits on the quarterback, and and they have 8 sacks. There's only the Chiefs, the only team that has less sacks than they do. All right. So and during this article, he cursed a couple times. I think they bleeped it out or whatever it was, but he cursed a couple times. And he's all fired up. I mean, you're not going to be a rocket scientist to figure out the defense is just not performing up to par. Now the thing is you got some of the rookies, the guys that aren't making money, aren't performing good. And then you got guys who are getting paid, good money that aren't performing, like Logan Ryan, Adoree Jackson, Bradbury, Leonard Williams. Then the guys, as I said, you got, the X-Man, all right? You got the Carter, maybe Dexter Lawrence, you got, Xavier McKinney, Darnay Holmes. He's not hardly even on the field anymore, So, I mean, there's like almost nobody on the defense whatsoever who's doing any good. And I said, when Carl Banks talks, you need to listen. And he sees the same things, and I don't know where you start because Patrick Graham is not getting the results out of these guys. So I don't know where you start. I don't know if you get rid of Patrick Graham. Kind of tough to get rid of some of these guys because they're guaranteed. We got the money. We're already paid out to them. So I don't know what the heck you do. But all I do know is that the Giants don't start straightening this out on their defense. They're in a lot of trouble. Well, as always, guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. You guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo!